50 Cent just revealed, music, every single clue surrounding Tupac and Biggie is MUR. And once you connect all the dots, you see that it's not just Diddy who was guilty. Real video footage of Tupac getting shot at Quad Studios 30 years ago has just come out. And we're going to throw every music, single frame, and interview all the way up to Biggie's death. In this video, music, we're breaking down every clue 50 Cent just brought forward.
Who killed Tupac and Biggie? I think both of these dudes were assassinated in some kind of way. More Biggie than Tupac. I think Tupac might got killed by a dude that they had an incident with earlier that day. But Biggie's seems a little
JFK.
Governmental to me.
Big developments in the case of Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, the man accused of orchestrating the murder of rap icon Tupac Shakur back in the 1990s. All these years later, the former gang leader is behind bars in Las Vegas and is insisting the case be thrown out. And he is implicating another music legend who's making headlines, Sean Diddy Combs. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Dwayne Keefe D. Davis is said to be behind one of the most infamous killings in history. Tupac Shakur, the 90s rap superstar, was gunned down while riding in a car with Suge Knight after the Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand. And over the years, there have been multiple investigations into Tupac Shakur's murder, but there has been one man who has seemed to implicate himself in the assassination again and again and again. Dwayne Davis, also known...
Let's go all the way back to the music early 90s, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and Tupac on the West Coast, and the Notorious Bug and Puffy on the East Coast. These were the biggest names in the industry, and some of the greatest music in rap history was being created. Tupac would cement a position as a leader in the industry early on, but everything would change with Biggie's debut album, Ready to Die. Puffy ran Bad Boy Entertainment, and Biggie was his trump card. After Biggie's album was released, music, Pac was instantly impressed. He began hanging out with Biggie, and frankly, Puffy was scared. Puffy knew that if Biggie ever decided to sign with Pac and Death Row Records, music, Bad Boy wouldn't be able to compete. Puffy tries his best to sway Pac towards him, but real recognizes real, and no one really liked Puffy. Right.
But Kirk Burrows, I want to go back to this interview that he did with Rolling Stone. He said that Diddy, he was jealous of the relationship between Tupac and Big, and he also went blind.
Then it happened. As we're going to see in this story again and again, Puffy decided to try and solve his problems with violence. Music. On November 30th, 1994, Tupac was robbed and shot multiple times in the lobby of Quad Recording Studios in Manhattan as he arrived for a late-night session. The official police report claimed that it was a robbery, but none of Pac's jewelry, music, was stolen. Tupac later stated in an interview that he knew Diddy was behind this shooting, but he never came after him for revenge. Having anything to do with the shooting, but music, Pac was convinced. Pac came to Quad Studios to meet up with Biggie, and in his eyes, music, Biggie and Diddy were equally guilty. This is what would later start the East Coast-West Coast War, which would eventually result in both Pac, music, and Biggie dead.
The thing about 50 Cent's Netflix Diddy documentary is how he built a timeline off of this information. And one of my favorite parts of this documentary is them really getting into the timeline of events when it comes to Tupac and Biggie. And it really gives us a lot of perspective from people that were close to the situation, and a lot of people allege in this documentary that they believe that Diddy was very jealous of Tupac. And they pretty much go through everything from the Quad incident and Tupac believing that Puffy was behind it, like he said in the Vibe interview, and they lay out this whole timeline of the downfall happening perfectly, in my opinion. We are even hearing from Greg Kading, the detective that worked on Tupac and Biggie's case in this documentary. He is the investigator that did that proffer agreement with Keefe D way back in 2008, where Keefe D alleged that Diddy tried to offer him $1 million to take out Tupac and Suge Knight. And Tupac's trial with Keefe D is coming up very soon in early 2026. And we know that Diddy's name has been dropped at least 200 times during these proceedings already. So this is one case that I am definitely waiting for and I am going to cover. In Keefe D's 2008 proffer agreement, he alleged that Diddy's friend Zip Martin is the one that gave him the weapon that was used to take out Tupac. Keefe D told the investigator Greg Kading that Zip Martin had a special compartment to keep this weapon in his car that he drove to Las Vegas. And in this documentary, we have Greg Kading confirming that Zip Martin did drive the same type of vehicle that Keefe D alleged to Las Vegas this night. And then during this documentary, we heard from the former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burroughs, who alleged during this time, Diddy had him hiring a whole bunch of people and getting cars to drive to Las Vegas. And he is now very curious into why Diddy wanted to do this. And he said, in his opinion, he now believes that Diddy was behind taking out Tupac.
An investigative unit within the lab was formed after the shooting. And while the unit couldn't find who was responsible for the shooting at the time, Music, 27 years later, it would arrest Keefe D. Now, in case you didn't know, Keefe D, a.k.a. Dwayne Keith. Kef D. Davis is a former Music Southside Compton Crips gang member who was charged in connection with the 1996 murder of Tupac Shakur.
We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because you listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to kill Pac? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah, no, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, wait, maybe I said that shit about boyfriend because he got Tupac killed.
Suge Knight was shot in the head while Tupac was being shot, and he later confirmed that Kef D had confessed to the killing.
Responsible for the shooting at the time, 27 years later, it would arrest Keefe D. Now, in case you didn't know, Keefe D, aka Dwayne Keith. Keefe D. Davis is a former Southside Compton Crips gang member who was charged in connection with the 1996 murder of Tupac Shakur.
During the Biggie Smalls investigation in the early 2000s, the filing reads, the three LAPD and FBI agents were part of a task force to solve the shooting of rapper Notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls, legal name Christopher Wallace. The task force, through a sophisticated criminal investigation, obtained sufficient evidence that would prove Mr. Davis was the leader of the Southside Crips and his gang was responsible for over 360 kilos of cocaine and PCP. Mr. Davis provided 3 interviews to obtain immunity from prosecution. The final interview were solely questions regarding the Tupac Shakur shooting, which Mr. Davis was also provided immunity from prosecution. So during a December 2008 interview with investigators, that is when Davis allegedly started to spill the beans about his one-time friend, Sean Combs, who he refers to as Puffy. He claims Sean Puffy Combs solicited Mr. Davis to kill Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur for $1 million. Eric Zip Martin, an associate of Puffy Combs, provided Mr. Davis with a gun to exact revenge on Tupac Shakur for the beating Mr. Anderson received. Now, Davis reportedly told the investigators that even though the job had been partially completed and Shakur was killed, neither he nor Anderson ever got paid. He later revealed that he believes Combs had paid the go-between Zip Martin, who he claims kept the money for himself. And he said much of the same thing in a 2009 interview a year later, because according to the motion to dismiss, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, as far back as 2009, was in possession of the same set of facts that the Clark County District Attorney is now alleging makes Mr. Davis responsible for the murder of Tupac Shakur. The Clark County District Attorney's Office has offered no reason as to why it waited another 14 years to prosecute a case against Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis has been irreversibly prejudiced by this unnecessary delay in prosecution of this case.
Hide $1 million, brother. You ain't going to cash that in the check cashing place. You signing that over to somebody. I said 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 times again. Eric Von Zip showed me and my man Boondang, aka my man Slick, a check for $1 million. We don't know, and everybody trying to say, lying, talking about half of it got paid, 500. I don't know. I know when we asked him Do we ask? No, we didn't ask him. I know when he showed us a check and he walked away after he showed us the check for the $1 million, you understand? I asked Boone, I said, yo, Boone, when did he get a record label? He said, you know how Zip is. I said, when did he get a Zip record label? Zip had a check for $1 million. He said he got it from Barry Hankerson and Jimmy Henchman for his record label, Black Ground Records. So now, if that's true, we know Jimmy Henchman and Puff was cool. You should be able to trace $1 million if that's the truth. If that's the truth, you should be able to trace that, where it came from. Why did he get it? Is that true that he sold a record label to them? And this was all after Pac's death.
Suge Knight was shot in the head while Tupac was being shot, and he later confirmed that Keef D had confessed to the killing.
He said, but I'm going to give you something that's real true, and I didn't want to tell you because we've been knowing each other, since we was kids. So Keef D was like, look, I need the money. Puffy and them supposed to give me $1 million. They gave us most of the money, or half of the money. And that's how everything unraveled for is what happened in Vegas. At that time, I'm on parole. I look to the left, look to the right. The whole place is packed. They will look.
With Death Row Records could have killed Shakur, and that individuals associated with Death Row Records killed Wallace. Okay, so again, changing stories. And by the way, Davis goes on to say that he was introduced to Combs in the early 90s by a man named Eric Zip Martin. This is another alleged drug dealer. And this is where we get into it. So the report reads, in or around 1992, Martin introduced Davis to Sean Puffy Combs. Davis recalls the introduction occurring at the Paradise nightclub on Santa Monica Boulevard. After speaking with Combs, Davis agreed to allow Combs to use his 1964 Chevy in a music video. The video featured the artist Usher. After the vehicle was damaged in the production of the video, Combs paid $2,500 to have it repaired. And by the way, according to Davis, Combs was scared of Suge Knight. And this was a man who had a reputation for being, sometimes violent and extreme. And that moves us now to this DEA report. So there was a DEA report from a 2008 task force meeting with Davis that was also included as an exhibit in the motion. And in it, Davis talks about the murder of a man named Jai Robles. This is Knight's bodyguard. He was killed in Atlanta in 1995. And according to Davis, he'd heard a rumor that an associate of Combs had killed Robles. The report says Combs requested to speak to Davis and asked Davis if he thought it was safe for Combs to come to Los Angeles for a concert. Combs expressed his concerns about Knight and possible retaliation related to the Robles murder. Davis advised Combs that he would provide 40 or 50 tickets to the concert. Davis could provide an entourage. Combs agreed, and Davis and his crew in fact attended the concert in support of Combs. Davis recalls the concert taking place in Anaheim, California. It was at this event that Combs began to solicit Davis to kill Knight and Shakur. Combs asserted something to the effect of, "I'll give anything for those dudes' heads."
Finally, what is perhaps the most interesting part of the puzzle? Tupac's brother Mopreme Shakur revealed almost 20 years after Tupac's murder that Diddy had actually reached out to him regarding the shooting. Diddy has always denied any wrongdoing and tried to distance himself as much as possible from this.
An LA Times article in 2008 alleging he'd been involved in your brother's death.
Back to Court TV Live, we are following new developments in the case of the hip-hop mogul who is facing RICO charges in New York, Sean P. Diddy Combs. Court TV has just confirmed that the family of Tupac Shakur is investigating a potential link between the murder of Tupac and Sean Diddy Combs. This coming from attorney Alex Spiro, who represents Tupac's family. Now, this investigation had been previously reported by unnamed sources, but earlier today, Spiro confirmed to our Court TV team that he and a team of investigators has been hired.
Sean Combs allegedly had business dealings with Dwayne "Keefy D" Davis, who will go on trial next March for the murder of Tupac. This was back in 1996. Some have speculated that Diddy ordered Tupac's death. That, of course, is just a theory at this point, and we are monitoring the developments in both the Tupac murder trial and the federal indictment of Sean Diddy Combs. So a lot of information to come on that one.
We have an update now on Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. He's charged in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Davis was in court again this morning after a fight with another inmate. Fox 5's Mike Allen walks us through what happened.
Dwayne Davis is answering for a jailhouse brawl. Here's what court records show, along with images from surveillance video released by Las Vegas Justice Court. On December 23rd, Davis was being escorted back into his cell when another inmate, Rockland Hamilton, who's also facing a murder charge, is standing to the right by a sink in this room. Hamilton walked over to Davis and squared up, looking ready to fight. They started throwing punches and grappling, and the officer escorting Davis called for backup, gave verbal commands too for the inmates to stop fighting, and then hit them with pepper spray. Before backup officers arrived, the two inmates kept grappling and throwing punches and were eventually separated after backup officers got into the room. Both Davis and Hamilton face battery by prisoner charges.
Going back to the story. In March 1997, 6 months after Tupac's murder, Diddy forced Biggie to go to L.A. Biggie knew that people might come after him, and he was scared. He knew something wasn't right, and death was coming from him.
One of your big stars right now. Yeah. How much are you exaggerating with you now as a rapper? But the people coming to get you.
I ain't exaggerating at all.
Diddy could be involved in a murder trial when it comes to Biggie and Tupac.
It could be possible, yes. However, like I said, they need a lot of corroboration to make that stick, because it's really alleged right now as to his involvement. It's not anything that's substantial or concrete that he was involved. It's personally from people talking about it and saying this is what happened. You need some more information to come forward to prove that.
To distract everyone from what's happening, Diddy's sons are releasing their own documentary about Diddy. And allegedly, Diddy is going to speak out publicly for the first time. Let's not forget that both Justin and Christian have their own pending sexual assault lawsuits. So if Diddy joins in on the documentary, we're going to have 3 alleged predators just try to avoid blame for however long this propaganda piece is going to be.
Zeus Network has a new Diddy documentary coming out, and this time it is coming from the perspective of Diddy and his sons. All the time I thought we were about to leave Diddy in 2025. Well, this documentary is coming in 2026. And a lot of people, just like myself, are already not feeling this new documentary coming from Diddy's sons. A lot of people aren't happy about it and actually shocked that the owner of Zeus Network, Lemmy, is doing this Diddy documentary. But what a lot of people fail to forget is Lemmy and Diddy have been friends for quite some time.
Of his children arriving in court for day 1 of their father's sex trafficking trial in New York. Hands gripped in solidarity.
Do you still believe your dad's innocent? How did you feel hearing that testimony? Have you apologized on behalf of your father? Do you believe your father's innocent? Do you still convince your father's innocent? Your dad was up for years! Your dad was up for years for abusing women! That's wrong! You can get worse!
The foes, the joy, the pain, our joy, the loyalty, the betrayal, the highs, the lows, the love, the hate, the truth. These sons, Christian and Justin Combs, they both came on 2 separate occasions to trial wearing a free Sean Combs shirt.
So, when you step back and look at everything laid out, the Quad Studios shooting, the money trail, Keefe D's sworn statements, Gene Deal's testimony, Suge Knight's confirmation, and Tupac's own family now reopening the case, this stops looking like a coincidence and starts looking like a pattern. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this was all planned from the start? Or is this just history being rewritten?